Hello, welcome back, Her Empowered Tribe, back to my channel. How are you doing today? It's getting cold, it's fall, and I can definitely feel the difference in the weather. Well, today we are again back in another episode of Daily Reflections from the Book of Awakening. We are almost coming to the end, but I know that we just started midway, so I'm just gonna continue to go through the book of awakening through hopefully through a cycle of a whole year if possible. I think there's a lot of great what do you call it, passages in there that really helps us really understand some, I wouldn't say understand, but go back to some of the basic foundation of humanity really, and to look at life in a totally different perspective, mainly from the spiritual sense, because I feel like a lot of his Mark Nepo, who is the author of this book, what do you call it, experiences very spiritual sense, but it just gives us a different perspective and something different to think about, because I think that when you kind of increase your perspective or widen your perspective, it just makes you look at things a lot differently, and mostly in the most positive way. So without further ado, let's go into today's passage. Today's passage is titled Staying Present. I am as all mortals are unable to be patient. It is so difficult to wait, and yet nothing short of patience can give us access to the nature of wholeness. In part, this is because the mystery of life in its totality is incomprehensible, and what can be understood often speaks in a language so slow that we seldom stick around long enough to hear it. As the great Chilean poet Pablo Neruda confirms, patience is a gift that waits beneath our very human agitation. Yet only through the incredibly difficult effort of staying present will life's forces reveal to us their powers of oneness. I recently went to the ocean and listened much of the night to the surf, and the next morning I was surprised to see the tide has receded to reveal a cliff that has been submerged. I was now able to walk on what revealed itself out into the sea, and the water rising about me, spraying and slapping what normally can't be seen, made me realize it is the same with our pain. For only when we can outweigh the dark with the sharpness of experience recede like a tide to reveal what has survived beneath it all. Often what seemed tragic, if looked at long enough, reveals itself as part of a larger transformation. I also remember coming upon a clearing in the woods, so densely overgrown that it felt depressing, for nothing seemed capable of getting through. Something in my own makeup resembled this and made me return this several times, but it was finally in winter, without its leaves, that this same clearing undressed itself as a magnificent bed of light that happened to be on the crest of a beautiful hill. It humbled me to realize that winter can be freeing too, and that I am often overgrown with memories and reasons and tweaks of mind that block me from the light. So often in our agitation and impatience, we hurry off, annoyed and troubled, in search of love or peace, never imagining that where we first look, is now letting light through or sprouting its truth. It takes months for a crab apple to shake the crab and find the apple, and even longer for joy to split its human bark. So today's passage is all about staying present and patience, patience, patience. Oh my, I don't know. Patience is not my cup of tea. It's definitely not my strength. Um, Today is one of the harder days for me. Mentally, physically, my anxiety is really high today. I don't know why. I think you can tell my good days and my bad days. My not so good days, I don't really do much. I don't even put on makeup. Today is a very high anxiety day for me. Just a lot of stuff going on, a lot of emotions. I try to kind of type my emotions. I'm in the midst of writing a book. This book has been long time coming. But sometimes when you are in a state of anxiety, it's really hard to focus. But I find it sometimes just sporadically, writing down my feelings does help me kind of release them a little bit. It is really in those moments when I'm feeling just highly stressed and very unfocused, ungrounded, is where I lack the patience, because I feel like more than not I'm in the state and I want to get out of it, and I don't understand it. I do, and I do understand the understand factually what anxiety is, what anxiety does to you, how it comes, how it shows up, what triggers, that kind of stuff. But then, like, when it comes out in your body, it's a completely different understanding, let's put it that way. I think mental health is such a topic that is so taboo. I think it's getting better now, but it's like you cannot explain what mental illness is to someone that doesn't understand mental illness. Because yes, we can read a book, yes, we understand the facts of mental illness, yes, we know what can affect mental illness, what might contribute to mental illness, but like I said, factually in your mind you understand. Like, I understand what it is, I understand what caused it, I've come to understand it and dive into it, but what it does to the body is something that only someone that has felt it would be able to explain it. And that's where patience is so important at this moment for me, because it feels like it's never ending, it gets old, and you feel like your spirit is tired, and you want a change, and you want to be more energetic. But it's I understand that the mind and the body is connected, but it's almost like the heart is willing but the flesh is weak, if it makes any sense. I think for someone, just like the passage is saying, when you are in the midst of the suffering, it is very hard for you to look outside of beyond the suffering, beyond that thick bush and what's underneath the ocean. And it's very hard to see the true picture of what this is going to be when you're in the thick of it and you experience it physically. My hope is that at some point I will understand what this suffering is about, and be able to help others. And that's why this channel is so important, guys. It's not just about sharing perspective. I mean, it really is, but I think the main thing is really bring to light some of the struggles that people go through, and I was just creating some of my online courses, getting the content together, and I know, like, some of the content I create would be like, isn't that a no-brainer? Like, isn't this common sense? Unfortunately, not everything. I mean, like, now that I've been in different roles, different situations, in different connections, I realize that it all comes down to your worldview and your exposure. If you've never been there, like my last video about like childbirth, if you've never been there, you don't really fully understand. And so certain things that you think because of your background you come across, you experience it, might be a no-brainer, like this is common sense, but to some people they just don't really understand. I have a friend that there was a time that we were I think it was close to Christmas time, and I like to do something nice, more charity work during this Christmas time, because I want to help some of the less fortunate people. And we were thinking about doing like a adopting a family to maybe buy some of the stuff on the Christmas list. And this friend, she said, no, I don't want to do any of that, and which is fine, you don't have to do that. But she said, I don't understand why I have to buy or gift to people that I don't know. And she just didn't understand how it affects someone when they are less fortunate, so she didn't understand, like, why do I have to give to somebody else? And from my chair, I couldn't understand, how is it that you don't understand suffering? you know. But after much thought, I realized that she came from a very well-to-do family, and she's never been like poor for a day. She's never been hungry. She's never been less fortunate. So how is she to understand the pain and the suffering that comes from someone that is less fortunate, right? I think patience is comes in many forms, and I think that sometimes patience is not just patience with yourself, but also patience in your situation, like me. In the example that I just shared, is patience for others. That maybe someday they will understand. Maybe someday they will see the light. Maybe someday they will gain that perspective. Because I think that people grow into themselves. I'm not saying like spiritually maybe, or intellectually grow into themselves when they are ready. You know, I feel like some of the things that you can share, like I can share my story and stuff, but then unless they are ready to dive into it and understand, it's very hard for them to change their perspective. So just like me, you know, creating this video, if you're not ready to hear what I have to say, or if you're not ready to embrace and be open to the stories that I'm sharing, then it's very hard for you to see from my perspective. So perspective is not just heard, but experience in the mind, because it takes an element of imagination, putting yourself in someone else's shoes to understand what it's about, if it makes any sense. But I wanted to leave you with this thought. I think that in the thick of different things that's happening in your life, for me, is a lot of things that I've shared with you that I'm going through. For you, it could be, you know, you're having trouble with your relationships, or maybe you are having friction with people around you, or you're having trouble with yourself, just like I am, or in a different way. Is sometimes it's good to be patient with yourself. I think most importantly is be patient with yourself. You don't have to have all the answers. In fact, I had this conversation in bed with my husband yesterday, like, what am I gonna do with my life? You know, I'm sure you have that moment too. Is be patient with yourself. You might not have the answers right away. You might be feeling physically a certain way that you can't help, but trust and believe that there's a reason why this is happening, and it will come to you with time. But the main thing is be patient with yourself, be patient with the situation, and be patient with the people around you, because as much as we want to be understood by others, there are moments that it's going to be tough for others to do that. But you know, you might be able to see a clearer and a better picture when time has passed, when pain fades, and it will bring you a brand new perspective that now you can pay it forward to others. Well, I hope this serves you. I went on a rambling streak there. I hope that whatever I shared, if you are ready to gain that perspective, or share with me what you think about what I said, if it's in context, or if it could be taken in a different context, because not every text is taken literally. It's just how you perceive the text and interpret it. But I hope that my videos have served you so far. If you have anything else that you want to listen more about, get to know me more, as I am sharing with you my perspective, I'm sharing with you a lot of my life and the real vulnerable side of myself. I'm not perfect, and we all suffer the same or suffer different in different ways, but we all are not immune to suffering. But I think the main thing is to have the patience and the forgiveness for yourself. Well, I hope this encourage you wherever you're at, in whatever situation you're in, that you hang in there, stay strong, stay positive, because I know the light will always come, and at some point, however you're feeling would just be a moment in time, just like this video. Well, you have a good day. Until I talk to you again, have a wonderful day.